Ahoy hoy, Merry Christmas and probably when this comes out a Happy New Year. This is being recorded at the end of December and there is a delay on the promised special of the next part of the Les Pauls. Any idea what the next Les Paul is? Reason for this special is very simple. My next door neighbour's kid got a guitar for Christmas and sent me a video saying it's buzzing, should it be doing the buzz thing? Listen man, how to do this, it's all funny. And I said, look, first things first, bung it over to me, I'll give it a quick once over and a proper look at the setup. Obviously ulterior motives. Ulterior motive one is that everybody who gets their first guitar is going to have a few teething problems with it. Second ulterior motive is let's see what new guitars are like. So here it is. It is a Fender, Squier by Fender Strat. I believe it was bought in one of these kits. It comes with an amp, a gig bag, a strap and some picks, as well as their free online lessons. Never tried the Fender lessons. Maybe I ought to. But here it is. Let me tell you what I know about it. Looking at the serial number, it is Indonesian made in September this year, so it's literally the newest guitar I've ever seen, in the Cortec factory. So people who remember back, it's a Cort, as part of a special run. What does special run mean? It's not a standard run, it's probably made up for these packs, and that's what it is. As usual with these things, it hasn't got written on it Bullet, it hasn't got written on it Affinity or SE. It is the black logo, Squier by Fender Strat. Single ply scratch plate. Nice sort of single burst, brown burst on there. I quite like the look of it. The neck is a bit satin. The strap locks have got a little plastic washer underneath, not felt, which is nice. There's the back, it's got Squier on the back. It looks like a Strat. Nice white with gold printing on the knobs. Did it need a setup? Yes, it really did. There's a lot of good things about this, as I've always said with the guitars that you buy new now, compared to when I was the owner of this guitar's age, years ago. This is superb for the price. I'm not going to say what the price is, but if you look up Squier Strat packs, you can see what the price is, and for what you're getting, it's fantastic. Are there things wrong with it? Yes, of course there are. But you've got a proper tremolo bridge. There's no trem arm in there, and I haven't set it up for tremolo work because I think it's only going to confuse you when you're a starter and going to detune the strings. It's clearly a plastic nut. It's very simple tuning pegs on there, which I did have to tighten. And the bridge was appallingly set up. The low E string, for some reason, was nearly half a centimetre lower than the others. What is interesting though is that the others were on a nice curve, and they have got different length Allen bolts in them. So they're the right size Allen bolts for the height that the bridge should be. It's a relatively flat neck. It's certainly not 9 inches or 9 3/4 as a standard old one. So the first thing I did was make sure the neck was flat. It was relatively flat. It was just no more than about an eighth to a quarter of a turn needed to flatten it. If you don't know what that means, a beginner guitarist, there's a truss rod in the bottom there, and you've got an Allen wrench to put in there, and so, for heaven's sake, don't play with it. Give it to somebody who's played with it before. You should never have to turn it more than half a turn. If you do it more than that, you're likely to break it, and then you're done for. This one is now flat. Once that was done, set up the action right here as well. That was a bit of fun. How do you set it up for a beginner guitarist? For me, of course, it's as low as possible. But then you've got to remember, when you're a beginner, you're not going to have a sort of light touch. You're going to be strumming hard. So I did raise it up half a turn on each one of these here to make the action a little higher and a little more forgiving so it doesn't buzz. Next thing I did was I de-strung it and I cleaned the frets. Now what was a little bit upsetting was that the frets were quite dirty. They were rough, and the problem... Oh, hello? Yes, no? Do I have... Sorry, I thought I had a visitor. The issue with that is that when you're bending a string, or even fretting a string, you feel it being harsh and you think, it's kind of off-putting. So what I used, and this is something that if you've watched this channel before, there are things you can use. You can use, for example, Crimson have fret rubbers. There is micro fresh polishing kit from Somebody Abrasives. And that's a set of fret protectors and very fine wet and dry paper. They're excellent. My favourite still, and I'm not ashamed of it, is the Micro Mesh System cushioned abrasives. They give you a full set of slightly cushioned abrasive pads ranging from 1500 to 120 or 12,000 grit to polish your frets out. These needed the 1500 to start with, which is a bit of a shame. If you're ever doing that as a job, do wrap your fret protector in masking tape. I have made that mistake once. Those are my favourite brand. So, once that was done, a nice fret polish on those. Nothing wrong with those. The wood needed a bit of a feed. It was really very dry. I think it's Indian laurel they're using here. It's certainly not rosewood. Thank goodness. But, most importantly, how does it play now? Oh, the other thing I found before going on was the back of the neck. It's got a satin finish. Great. Far better for everybody than the thick glosses that you've seen on my old 1970s guitars. Nice satin finish, skunk stripe. No idea what any of these timbers are, but I did note that the finish on this isn't exceptional. Is it a problem? No. It's just me being Mr. Luthier and looking at it and looking at the sanding on the finishing of the join here. It's a little bit incomplete. And up here there's a slight scratch in the finish, which, to be honest, a light sand with one of the lighter grades there will sort out. Just little things that just not finished on the QA part of this. And we're back in the room. Sorry about that, I had a phone call. So, 3000 grit paper, not pushing down. Beautiful there. Now what that was to sort out was where the finish was a little bit thin and a little bit rougher. And after this video is finished, what I'm going to do is put a little bit of my nice oil over that, just to make sure it's sealed up. Then of course it's time to tune. So just shove a little bit of reverb on this. Bridge pickup. Bridge and middle. That's nice. That's got that little quack that Strats have. For reassurance, everything's on the clean channel of the Fender Deluxe VM, and it's just everything at 5, apart from volume, because I have neighbours I care about. Middle. Middle and neck. And neck. That, for a beginner's guitar, is blooming excellent. Let's try a... bit of dirty channel. Let's just wonderful. I love that. So a light setup, new set of strings, cleaning the frets, feeding the wood on the fretboard, which won't need doing again, tightening the tuners up here, little bit of sand on the back here in order to make sure it's smooth. The only thing I'm going to do that's anything different to what you see is give the owner of this guitar this tuner. There are lots of tuners out there. This one actually happens to work. Snark is a great brand if you haven't got yourself a tuner. I'm going to put a list of online tutors as well. So, is it a good guitar? It's a great guitar for a beginner. I've personally got some issues with the neck finish QA, but I am looking at it from the eyes of somebody who does this rather than a beginner. I wish I'd had this guitar when I was a beginner. Enough said. It's nice and light. I've no idea what this timbre is. If there's some words below, shout them at me. Because it's pretty darn good. Until next time, which is next week, where you finally find out when Gavin with slightly shorter hair, yes, quarantine has taken its toll. I'm starting to look like I should live in Port Talbot. Next week we finally find out what my other Les Paul was. Any more guesses below? It's not the Epiphone. It's a bit of a beauty. Until then, toodle pip, take care of yourselves, stay the inside,